Hi y'all, it's Andrea. I hope you are having a wonderful week. I am here today with the seventh project in the ongoing Handmade Holiday Series here at Sewspire, which began October 1st and runs through December 3rd. Today I am going to show you how to make this multi-purpose fold over clutch, which closes via a little tab and button closure there, and can be crafted from cotton remnants or home decor fabric. I just want to show you another little option here. If you want to get very fancy, you can integrate some cork or suede or leather or vinyl into the base of the clutch and create a multi-texture look with that. Now I'm going to show you today how to sew the basic version, which can be used for a multitude of purposes. This little button tab closure here allows you to hang this clutch up, so it's perfect for cosmetics. I think it would also be great in the car as well, and it could make a super cute project bag. So shall we get started? Okay, so for this project I am using a nice quilt weight cotton for the interior and then a home decor fabric for the exterior. Has a sweet little vintage campers on it. This interior cotton is a new collection called London Calling by Robert Kaufman, and it is really very soft to the touch and luxurious. So for this project you're going to need to cut out 4 body panels which measure 9.5 inches tall by 9 inches wide, and then 1 rectangle which measures approximately 2 by 8. You could go a little longer if you want to hang this over a doorknob. This one that I'm working with is 2 by 9 just because I was keeping the same measurements as the exterior. And to craft that little button tab closure, you're going to take that rectangle, fold it in half long ways and press it, then open that up and bring those raw edges inward to meet on that center press line. Fold that over one more time, aligning the folded edges, and then incorporate 2 rows of stitching to finish that button tab closure. I like to begin on the open edge of the strap. And the strap is complete. I'm going to set that aside for a moment. Then I want to take the interior panels. The 9 inches is the width and the 9.5 is the height. So I'm going to position those right sides facing and sew down the 9.5 inch sides and across. I'm going to leave that top open. And for this, I'm using 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. And I have stitched the sides and the base of that. I am going to turn the interior right sides out and poke out those corners. Then I'm going to set that aside for a moment and bring over the 2 exterior panels. Again, the height of this is 9.5 inches. So I want to position that fabric right sides facing. I do have a directional print, so I'm paying attention to that. I'm going to stitch down the sides and across the base using the same 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. I've made it all the way around. I'm going to leave the exterior wrong side out. I'm going to bring over the interior, which is right side out, and I'm going to fit that inside of the exterior. And then I want to begin by aligning the side seams, and I'm going to go ahead and open those exterior seams as well as the interior seams and align those nice and flat and flush just to minimize that bulk on the side. I'll go ahead and pin those seams open. Then on the other side I will do the same thing, align those seams and open them so they lie nice and flat. And then everything else should line up beautifully, providing you were consistent with your seam allowance. On the back side of this, you want to mark center, and then you're going to come out 1.5 inches on either side of that center mark, and you will stitch from the outer pin to the outer pin. You're going to reinforce with a back stitch and leave that 3-inch opening unstitched. The easiest way to do this is to remove the machine deck and then position that fabric up there. I'm going to begin at that far pin on the back there so I don't lose my place. Again, using the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance. Now as you approach that far pin on the left, you're going to want to mark that with your finger there and make sure you back stitch. Okay, I've made it all the way around. I have that 3-inch opening. I'm just going to turn all of this project right side out. That turn gets a little more complicated if you use interfacing. Because I have the home deck fabric on the outside of this, I am not going to use interfacing. I did use the Pellon 808 or Pellon 809, works great for this one because it was cotton on the inside and out and it's nice and rigid. So if you like your projects to have a little more stability, go ahead and interface that. Then I like to use one of these little polyfill sticks to poke out those corners at both ends, because it gets significantly harder to do that once you have closed up this opening. Then I'm going to take that interior and fit it inside of the exterior, and then holding on to each corner at the seam, I'm just going to pull that nice and taut, and that opening should tuck in there, and then you can head on over to the iron and press everything nice and flat. Right, I have that pressed nice and flat. You could quit now and just do a little top stitching and still have a really super cute little pouch. But we're going to add a few more finishing details to this. So now you want to bring back over this little tab. If you're going to hang this on a hook or a doorknob, go ahead and leave that nice and long and just loop it over into a U and tuck those raw edges right inside at center there, and then pin that in place. And the more space that you put in between the ends, the more room you're going to have to slip that over a hook or a doorknob. So this really is an opportunity for you to customize this. So just know you have a lot of ability here to adjust the function and the style of this with this little tab here. So now what I'm going to do is put this on the machine deck, beginning at that opening, and I'm going to stitch all the way around with a very narrow 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. I'm going to reinforce with a back stitch at that little tab. Okay, and made it all the way around. Again, you could stop here and just hang this up and have a super cute little trash can. Another option is for this to become a reusable little snack bag for the cereal bars and power bars and things like that, the single serve packages. So if you want to continue on though, the next step is to determine how far you want your flap to come down, and then mark where you would like to attach your button. So I am going to go ahead and attach a button here, and it's going to be approximately 2 inches up at center from the base. Okay, so I have the pin marking approximately where I would like the button to sit, and I have a really nice collection of buttons here that I'll show you all. A lot of them are vintage, and it is just a blast for me to go through this box looking for buttons. In fact, I often have a hard time choosing which button that I want. I got these off of eBay several years ago, probably more than a decade ago, and there was probably 3 times that many. So I have been making my way through them, but I still have quite a few left. So what I have done is I've pulled out 3 buttons that match this project that I really like, and I'm actually leaning towards this awesome red vintage button with the shank on the back there. I just think it goes nice with, it's not a perfect match, but it does go really nice with this, the vibe of this fabric already. But I did want to show you another little fun trick to take an ordinary button here. So I have a larger 2-hole button and then a smaller 2-hole button. You can layer those buttons on top of each other and get a really fun look, and that, as you can see, would be equally as charming. I'm just really drawn to this awesome red button here, so I'm going to go with that one. And my other tip for sewing on the buttons is to use the heavy-duty button craft thread. If you double this over, you only have to go around twice and tie a few good knots, and you are all set. That button should stay on there for a very long time. Okay, so I usually work with about an 18-inch piece of the button craft thread there, and I like to double that through the needle, and then I have marked where I would like that to be positioned. So I'm going to come in through both layers of that fabric about a 1/4 inch there, and I'm going to leave a 3-inch tail off of the end there, and then I will thread the needle through the back of that shank, and then I'm going to come back through both layers of fabric and through that shank one more time so that I have 4 layers of thread inside of there. And then I'm just going to pull everything nice and taut and try not to get it all tangled up. And then holding both ends, so I got my 2 little tails over here and the 2 that are attached to the needle. I'm going to wrap those loose ends around that shank once, and then I want to tie that first knot nice and tight, and then I want to come back around the opposite side and tie one more knot nice and tight. And if you have enough thread, go ahead and put a double knot in that. If not, just trim up those threads so that they hide right underneath of that button, and that should be on there good and still give you plenty of play when you want to hook your little tab underneath of there. All right, so now I have 3 of these little sweeties, and I have a couple ideas for a few more that I want to make. I think this could be really fun too with the patchwork. So please have fun with this. It's a simple sew, great for beginners. This could be really fun. If you have children in the house that are interested in sewing, you could put a few of these together and fill them up with candies or small little games perhaps, and they could gift them to friends and neighbors. So I look forward to seeing your small clutches or project bags, whatever you want to call those, over on the Facebook group page, and I will be back next Tuesday with the 8th project in our handmade holiday sewing series. So until then, as always, please know the creative genius in me will be celebrating the creative genius in you. I hope you all have an awesome week, and I thank you for watching.